Hey YouTube, it's Cal2000X. Kind of a big topic today. I'm going to talk about online relationships as they relate to minors and their parents. Just for a little bit of background about me, I grew up with a lot of online friends, spent a lot of time playing games online and meeting people, and formed a lot of friendships. Most of those have kind of dissolved now because just time does that. But I was careful not to give out my name or stuff like that, but I wasn't very monitored in the end. I mean, most of what I did was still like in my parents' bedroom because I had to use their computer to do most of what I did growing up, but still they didn't know much of anything about my online friends unless I was venting to my parents about them. Which is good that I had a relationship with my parents, my dad in particular, where I was able to vent, as foreign as it was to him that I was venting about online friends and not real life friends. This is specifically related to fandoms. Just different fandoms. You know, you've got the Doctor Who fandom, you've got the furry fandom, you've got the My Little Pony fandom, or bronies. You've got the anime fandom, or the, well, otaku. These are all really big communities that have an online presence, and people will congregate online and meet one another and talk on forums, those sorts of things. Now, I'm not necessarily looking to inform you about what these different fandoms are in this video. We can touch on that later. I'm more concerned about just how families relate to one another as a child is diving into a fandom. This could also be said for online games like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV or 11, or Guild Wars 2, just different, or League. League is a big one, or Dota. Just, I could go on and just list all of the online games ever, but I'm not going to. So, specifically relating to fandoms, I'm mostly going to be speaking from the experience of the furry / My Little Pony fandom, because those are the two different fandoms I've had the most exposure to. So you'll hear a little bit about these different fandoms in this video, but I'm going to try not to go on too long. I'm already 5 minutes in, so this is going to be a long video. I talk a lot, I'm sorry. So, from my personal experience as a 24-year-old man, and having been involved in the furry fandom, in particular, since I was like 19, I can definitely say the furry fandom is not a place for or even the My Little Pony fandom is not a place for a minor to be traversing alone, without their parents knowing what's going on. You can bump into a lot of really not good things, a lot of really not safe communities and websites, just really sexually promiscuous groups, and it can just really mess a kid up. So, not to say that as a blanket statement for that's what those fandoms are, that's what the furry fandom is, it's what the My Little Pony fandom is. No, I wouldn't say that even for a second. But it's still there. There's still a dark side that parents need to be aware of and need to be discussing with their kids about. Now, that being said, speaking from my experience, this is even before I found the furry fandom. This is just more so from the online gaming side of the coin. Growing up with the online friends that I had, I felt like those were the only friends I did have. I didn't really have any friends in middle school. I was bullied all the time. I didn't know how to make friends, and people just didn't seem to want to be friends with me. So I stuck to my online friendships. It may be very likely that that's the same boat that your specific child is in, that they just don't have a lot of friends, and they're going to the internet for that camaraderie, and they've found communities where they've got common interests with people, and they're accepted and loved, and and all of that, or it appears that they are. So, that being said, it's not in anyone's best interest to just find out about that. It's not the best interest of the parents to just find out about your child's involvement in that and then just immediately shut it down because you're scared. But I'll touch on that later. It might not always be the case that your kid is, friendless and they're just going to the internet. In other cases, they just happen to stumble on the internet and find these communities and take an interest in them, unbeknownst to the parents. Kind of going over to the parents' side of things. Parents, I would say, as a general rule, you want your kids to be safe. You don't want them finding something or someone online that could harm them in any way. You don't want them to fall into something that they won't be able to get out of because you just let them on their merry way and they end up doing certain things. Here you have on the one side, you've got kids, again, kids being like 11 to up to 18 even, that are involved in these fandoms or online communities, and that those are a big source of friendship and camaraderie and support for them. And then you have parents who don't understand these communities and are concerned about them and want to keep their child safe. And they're afraid of maybe stereotypes or what they look at first glance and just don't see good in those things. But the question is, at that juncture, what do you do? What does the minor do? What do the parents do in that situation? I've compiled a list of do's and don'ts, and I pray with everything in me that both any minors watching this or parents watching this, that you hear me out here. Listen to each other. Note I'm saying to each other. So kids, listen. Listen to your parents when they're concerned. Parents, listen to your kids when they're trying to explain their world to you. Don't be forceful. Don't jump the gun and immediately just shut down everything that your child is into or is doing that you're not really sure about or you don't really understand. That's a very quick way to make what they're into kind of fly out of control, because what tends to happen when a kid is in a fandom and that's a big part of their life, you repress that, and it grows, it gets stronger, because they're just that adamant about not wanting to let that go. So forcing that out of your child's life is not a good idea. And conversely, kids, if you are part of a fandom, I'm sure you love your fandom, whatever that is. You may just be the biggest anime nerd in your house, and your parents just don't really know anything about it. Don't force your fandom on your parents. Can we just get an Amen banner just flying across the sky somewhere? Don't force fandom on your parents. Heck, don't force fandom on people in general. People do not like it when you shove what you like in their face and expect them to just accept it off the cuff. No, it's a bad idea. Bad time for everyone. Nobody wins. Don't do it. That is not a way to help anyone gain understanding about what you like. I'm not saying be in the closet about what you like, but at the same time, don't just throw everything about your fandom into your parents' face and then expect them to just magically get it and understand, because they're not going to. No one's going to. You're just going to put yourself in a rut doing that. So, and I speak as someone who's done this. I took an interest in the furry fandom. I shoved that in my parents' faces, and they had absolutely no idea what to do with it. Especially not my mother. My mother was just like, oh my god, what is my kid doing? And I was just like, Mom! Gosh, love me and just listen. Yes, no, that didn't work, because shoved it in her face. didn't know what to do. Don't do that. Now, that said, parents, gain understanding. Take the time to gain understanding from your kids about the fandom that they're involved in, or just what they like in general. Just take that time to understand what they like. Just let them tell you what it means to them, how they see it. That doesn't mean don't do your own research. That doesn't mean don't ask other people. But at the same time, like, what other people might say a fandom is, or what the internet at large might say a fandom is, and what it means to your child may mean completely different things. Prime example, as a furry by itself just means you like talking cartoon animals and different things that feature that. To the internet at large, and to other people that know what a furry is, their general first impression is that there's this very dark, gross, sexual side to the fandom. To the point that people in my position don't really want to use the label, or just like flash it out saying that, you know, this is what I am, because, or this is what I like, because that doesn't have very good connotations. So it's a very specific thing for me about what being a furry means for me versus what it might mean for someone else who is involved in all that stuff. There's a difference, and that's very important that you listen to your child when it comes to that. And kids, as you are trying to explain fandom to your parents, if they don't understand and they don't get it, don't clam up and shut down if they don't get it. Let them come to grips with it at their own pace. Don't, again, don't shove fandom in anyone's face. People have to take the time to understand it. You got to talk through that sort of thing sometimes, especially if you're a brony or a furry, Pegasus, or whatever. You got to talk through that stuff, because there's just a lot of different things that aren't understood that need to be understood on both sides, and patience and love will win the day if it's there, so let it win. That leads me into my next point. Don't lash out or fear of ignorance, or fear that comes from ignorance. If you don't understand your child's fandom, don't lash out at them and assume the absolute worst of your child's involvement and then just completely shut it down. That is not a way to win your child over or to make any kind of point. And kids, conversely, I know it's kind of hard to be in that position, but if you don't understand your parents' reaction, don't lash out at them. They are people. They are human beings just like you. Give them the chance to come to grips. And if they don't understand and they're nervous and scared about what you like, be patient with that. Don't lash out or just say, oh, well, you're just never going to understand me. Don't be a child in that regard. Be an adult. Treat your parents as fellow human beings, and let them be scared if they need to be scared or feel scared. And be patient with that. Talk through that. And that just kind of goes into my next kind of bullet point here. Respect each other's feelings. And I'm speaking to parents and kids in tandem here. Respect each other's feelings. If one person is scared or confused, respect that. Let them feel that way, and don't condemn them for feeling that way. Don't cart off someone as narrow-minded or whatever if they don't understand. Let them not understand, and then come alongside them and help them understand. And if they're not ready to understand, give them space. Give them space if they need it. Oh my goodness. Now, kind of goes without saying, don't slam down on each other for feeling or thinking a certain way. Don't slam down on each other for feeling intimidated or scared or confused. Again, patience and love will win the day. Just respect each other. Now, kids, I've kind of already said this, but I'm going to say it again more specifically. Honor your father and mother, that it may go well with you all the days of your life. That's biblical. Honor your parents. Honor their feelings, honor their wishes. If they need you to step away from some of your communities or whatever because they're not comfortable or they don't understand, do that. Don't go to war with them. Don't make your parents into your enemy if they don't understand what you like or what you're into. Just be respectful to your parents and honor their wishes. Don't go to war with them. Parents, take the time to help your child understand your concerns and your feelings about what they're doing, good and bad. Just make sure that you all understand each other. Don't jump the gun and overreact and then do something that's going to embitter your children against you. Don't make yourself out to be their enemy. Because I guarantee you, if you lash out and you shut them down and you don't listen to them, you're going to make an enemy out of yourself to your child. And that is one of the most heartbreaking things that I've seen happen. Don't alienate your child from you, and don't alienate yourself from your children. Now that being said, when it comes to specific online communities, biggest rule of thumb is just be involved. I'm speaking to parents. Be involved with your kids. Know who they're talking to. Know what they're doing. If you're not comfortable with someone that they're talking to, block them. Do whatever you have to do. Or if you're just not comfortable with anyone that they're talking to, well then you guys need to talk about that and talk about it. Don't just shut everything down. I actually had a friend who his mother tried really hard to get involved with what he was doing, and he was like 18 or 19 at the time, and tried even to like talk with and meet people in the community outside of just his personal friends that he'd made. That was like one of the most winsome, awesome things I'd ever seen a parent do. I'm not saying that that's what you should do or have to do, that you have to go, that you yourself as parents have to go talk to the strangers. Although you might feel better if you did. Hi. I would feel like if some people's parents talked to me, they'd feel better about who their kids were interacting with. Because I certainly don't want to make myself appear like I'm some sort of predator or something to anyone's kid. Because, I mean, I'm online, I have an online presence. I've met people that are between the ages of 15 and 18. I see 15-year-olds on the community that I'm involved with right now, and I'm like, I hope their parents know that they're here, because that's a little awkward if they don't. Now, all that being said, be involved, be patient, be loving, and just, again, if I could leave you with anything, patience and love will win the day. Let it win the day. Do not let fear and confusion and hate overcome your household just because you don't understand each other. And I'm speaking to kids and their parents. This is not just to parents. This is very much to kids who have an online presence as well. All that being said, any questions, comments, particular situations that you might need some advice on, feel free to ask me. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to answer, but I'll do my best, and I just want to wish everyone that's watching this a wonderful day or night, depending on what time it is where you are, and just that God would bless you and be with you and your families. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.